All right, ladies, we are live. Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Today, we are going to be doing a panel discussion over the book, The Voices of 100 Women. I am joined today with some of the extraordinary women who co-authored this book. And we're just going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into the book and some of the chapters that were written. So before we do that, I just want to take some time and let the ladies introduce themselves to you, tell you a little bit of background on them before we go into this discussion today. So let's start with Cassandra.
Hi, my name is Cassandra Love Lambert, also known as C Love, and I'm an artist. I'm a coach for moms and women who have gone through trauma, specifically abuse. I help them transform their pain into power. Mm-hmm.
She's like, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we do all the nitty-gritty things. It's like when talk therapy isn't enough and you're still feeling the intensity and reactions in your body, it's time to release it somatically. And I'm the person people come to when they just hit that wall and they're like, this isn't enough. I need something more.
This is the person I've been trying to get an appointment with that I can never keep my appointment.
Yes.
All right. So let's go to Yadi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jadira Amaya, but I go by Yadi. That's been my childhood nickname forever. And I am now a published author, business and mindset coach. I'm a former business owner who had a clothing brand and a clothing store for almost 8-9 years, and then now have transitioned to helping others start their own small businesses and encourage them to think bigger, with growth mindset and start their businesses, believe in themselves, see the potential that they've got, and sharing my story. It has also helped a lot to empower them to believe in themselves. I'm a mother of two. I've got a 28-year-old and an 8-year-old. And so I'm super busy.
Yes, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Sylvia.
Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure again to meet more of the authors of our fabulous book. I'm so proud to be part of our movement. This is how it feels for me. I'm a women's empowerment mentor for over 28 years with lots of reinvention of the how I did it. First starting more in the corporate world, helping high potential breaks through glass ceilings and getting into the C-suite. I've made a few women CEOs or something with a C at the beginning, which is amazing. And then shifting when I moved countries, you hear my accent from Germany to the United States. I trained women to become professional coaches and get certified by the International Coach Federation. Then I shift again and did retreats. It's for 28 years. The how is shifting with my own life and my own evolution and the marketplace. But at the core, I believe that the world will be a more just and more peaceful and more happy world when we have more women in leadership positions in all areas of our life. Non-profit, for-profit, schools, and also privately, women being again in the leadership roles in their families. So I do that with a lot of different things. I call myself a life artist. I believe life is our masterpiece and every day is a new canvas where we pour our paint colors, so to speak, metaphorically onto it. And I share my love through writing, speaking, teaching, coaching, and Yeah, writing. I'm so proud of us to inspire other women through our journeys, because in the essence, we all share a story, very personal, from trauma to triumph, from obstacle to, what is a good word with orgasm, maybe? From obstacle to orgasm. It's always the transformation. And I believe our book will inspire women around the world to allow themselves to make that big jump from whatever they were stuck to whatever they want to get to. And this is what we all do here together. That connects us by heart, no matter our backgrounds.
Thank you for sharing. All right, last but not least, Marlene.
Hi everyone, I'm Marlene Gravenberg from Suriname and a mom of 2 adult children, a young lady and a young man. They gave me 4 beautiful grandchildren, 3 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. And it's been an amazing year for me. So much good things happening along with the challenges. I'm the owner and founder also of Leadership Refocus, where my focus is really on personal and professional development of entrepreneurs. That's what I have had the last 6 months. Young women and young men having their own company and the struggle with the finding their voices, but also wanting to know who they are. I've written some of the stories in my book, Re-Embrace You. And I think we all have that common thread, and that is empowering mainly women. And I'm so proud to be part of this, for part of this community, part of this 100 Voices of Women project. It's more than just a project. It's a message. It's encouragement. So together we are very, very strong.
Agree. So I know Anna just joined us. Hello. We were just popcorning around the room, just sharing a little bit about who we are, what we do, before we dive into the discussion.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Please bear with me. Today is driving day, so we left Indiana and we're going to Arkansas. So my name is Anna Martinez, and I do many things. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3. I'm a registered nurse, certified lactation counselor, travel agent, and how money works as financial educator. And I'm super excited to be part of this project. We're blessed. And that was it, right?
That's a lot. The multipreneur. So I wanted to give a little bit of backstory of what the project is. So last year and part of this year, we created the Voices of 100 Women. And what it was, or what it is, it was a scholarship where She Rises Studios covered a lot of the costs that it would normally take to have women be able to publish their solo books. And so 100 women from all over the world submitted applications or were contacted. There were interviews that were taken, all these different things. And there were 100 women chosen, given a scholarship to. And over the course of this year, next year, and 2027, these 100 women will each have their own solo book. They will also be a part of a docu-series called The Voices of 100 Women. And then we also have this book called The Voices of 100 Women that is an anthology. And so it's a really big project. It's meant to be ever going because all women have a voice. We don't always use it. And sometimes we do when we shouldn't. And it's like this combo of things. Women are very intellectual, very talented, very unique, very gifted. Some consider us to be emotional. Sometimes we are. We're all of these incredible things. But the reality is that there's been this tone through this project, and that is everyone has a voice and that there is love in this project. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today, is how this book has brought together perfect strangers from all over the world together to unite their voices and talk about love, collaboration, cultural differences that really don't need to exist. Because the reality is there's abundance, there's all these different things that we can really hone in on through our voices and when we unite. And so that's what I wanted today's discussion to be about. And anyone who wrote in this book, no one person's chapter is the same. They're all different perspectives, all different women from all different parts of the world, which makes it unique because these voices make a difference. And everyone talked about something different within their chapter. So with that said, I'm going to shoot it back to Cassandra, and I was hoping you could share a little bit of how the journey's been in writing the book, becoming a solo book author, and what you wrote in this particular chapter for this book.
Yeah. So writing my solo book, I'm almost done with the final edits. I found it to be really healing, but also very like hard emotionally. I'm just like revisiting like all the traumatic memories and things. And it's almost like I'm going on the journey with myself through it all and through all the transformation and stuff. So it's been also very empowering because as a child, I didn't have the courage to go to court to put the person who molested me in jail. He ended up dying an awful death anyway, so good thing with karma, right? Really painful disease, but I've always struggled like with my voice. So this year has been all about like reclaiming my voice as a woman and allowing that little girl to have a voice. And the first part was this book, and then I'm also working on speaking. And then in this particular book with everyone else, I took pieces of my lifelong story and I put it in here. And the part that I chose was the moment like I was headed to the hospital to get an abortion, and I didn't want to get the abortion. Like I called the guy, and like I was really scared. I didn't have support from my family. I was going to SF State, and he was like, "I don't want anything to do with you or any child." Blah 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 blah. And so I went through with it, and a part of me died on the table that day. And it really took me on this journey for a decade of just like thinking I was getting my power back, but I wasn't through a particular job. And the story leads to it kind of goes full circle to where I did become a single mom 10 years later. And I did say yes and go down a new path. And so it goes on this whole like circle path of transformation. And I really wanted to just guide people like through like the darkness to the light.
So when you are sharing your story, how you are today, how many other women do you think have been through something similar?
Oh my God, so many women, so many women. Like, because the whole thing too with politics and stuff with like the abortion piece, it's such a layered topic. And it's not easy conversation for anyone. And I don't feel like it should be a blanket choice. Like it's so individual per person. And there are people who, when that choice comes, that's not even the choice they want to choose, but they don't have the resources or the support they need around them to make a different choice. And they're just really scared. And to be honest, when I did this, get pregnant again and chose to be a single mom, that was the hardest choice I ever did. It was hard. There isn't a lot of support for single moms out there, and childcare is just as much as rent. And so it puts you in these predicaments and situations of not having a lot of choice, and it's hard. It's really hard. And so many women go through it.
How do you think your chapter could help someone?
I'm getting goosebumps. It can maybe give them some courage, right, through my journey. Also, I point to things that really helped me transform everything from dark to light. Like I just I like being very raw and vulnerable and just sharing it like it is. And I even talk about how that abortion and how that man was, because he was also cheating on me and he wasn't a great dude at all. How that actually sent me on this trajectory of thinking I was getting my power back by becoming a gentleman's club dancer. Like I fell into that trap of thinking that that was getting my power back, but really it just kept reinforcing the trauma from being sexually abused in childhood. And so, like, I just feel like this is a story that so many women relate to, because when I was in that industry, it was killing my soul. I hated being there. I used alcohol to get through my days. So did all the other women there. And I would talk to them, and they also had childhood stories of abuse or being in abusive relationships and feeling like they didn't have a choice. So I just feel like if someone can learn through me and my experiences and get that little light of hope, I know it will touch people, especially if they are also in that space and lost, and confused, and don't know what to do, and don't have the support they need in their life.
Well, thank you for being so open and sharing. All right, so I'm going to go to Anna. Can you kind of tell me your experience in the journey of writing in this book, and a little bit about your chapter and how you think your chapter can help someone?
Yes, of course. So for my particular chapter, I know I signed up because the project called to me, but I hadn't had a specific story in mind. And then as it happened, I wasn't, my partner and I were going through a rough patch in our relationship. We were supposed to take this trip to Cancun together. I ended up going alone to kind of rethink, reevaluate things. Things kind of got out of hand. I made a lot of dumb mistakes. And as a travel agent, you would think I would know better. But I think because I was a travel agent, I was overconfident. Like, oh, if anything happens, I have all my documents on the Google Drive. Basically, I ended up losing everything on this trip. I lost my passport. I lost my money, cell phone, everything. Over just a lot of silly mistakes. But even so, my biggest worry at that point was, how was I going to fly back to the United States to be with my family, to be with my children? And it's, so I kind of talk about that particular story and how I was feeling. And it was a very rock bottom moment, especially when you don't know if you can go back to your country without any documentation. And I think at the end, what I was trying to portray with this story is that, it wasn't Cancun's fault. It wasn't me being a solo female traveler that this happened to. It was my own mistakes. Anybody can make those mistakes. But what came out of those mistakes? So what came out of that experience? One of those things is that being a nurse, I worked hospice, and for the longest time, due to my mom dying at the young age of 53, a lot of my decision making was, well, I'm going to die tomorrow. I could die tomorrow. I only have I'm 33. I'm going to die in 20 years, right? I have to live life to the fullest. I have to do it, and I kept getting myself into debt, which that's why I became a financial educator, was because I've made so many mistakes throughout my journey because there is no formal financial education. So when I finally made it back home, I was super grateful to be, we reconciled, we looked at what we were doing with our life, and we weren't living the life that we wanted to live. And so that's where I go into my chapter. And not only do I talk about my story, but also steps that people can take, practical steps that people can take to start living a life that they truly want to live. I think one of the steps is, your mental is your mindset, right? Living a life, knowing that living your life to the fullest, living it now, not waiting till tomorrow. And this is coming from someone who not only has seen death so many times because of my, my job, right, working as a hospice nurse, but also my personal experience with my mom dying, but also knowing that life is so precious. And did it suck that I had to feel like I was never going to come home, to be that scared for us to finally make the leap into the journey that we're living now, which had I known, if I had a crystal ball that would tell me that, I was going to be living this full-time RV life, would I have made the mistakes I made, or the things? No, I probably wouldn't have. I don't think I would. But I think we all get into this routine. This, you go to work, and then you go home, you go to school, you go home, and it's just this mediocre life, that ordinary life that people live. And there's so many options, and I think that if, just like, the previous speaker was saying, if someone could read it and see it, that you have a choice, and maybe I can help you. Why not? As women, I don't want to feel like we don't have a choice, or that we have less of an opportunity to make these choices. But it all starts somewhere, baby steps. It could be, and I give different examples, like whether it's your mindset, it's your emotional, your spirit, or a physical change. But we can all start somewhere to make a choice, so that where we are living our best life. And it all starts with a baby step into that right direction. I think I even, I mentioned a little bit of finances here, a little bit of travel here, but just, we owe that to ourselves. We're all worthy of living a life that we want to live, no matter what mistakes we've done in the past. It's never too late to start living that, to turn our life around. It's not too late. We can all do it. Yes, there's going to be obstacles, and let's use our vulnerable moments, those let's use those past trauma to help us. Those things didn't happen to us, it happened for us, so that we can hopefully set an example for others and be there for them as well. So I hope I can relate that through the story, or even with the practical tips I give, so that that whoever can or is reading it can start making those steps towards the life that they want to live, a life that they thrive.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Yadi, how has this experience of you writing in the book been for you, and for your chapter? How do you feel your chapter has helped, or can help, or will help someone?
Yeah, well, for me, the chapter that I wrote in the book was a summary of, it summed up my life, very brief. And writing my solo book, I go into a lot of detail about probably the most impactful times of my life. And I did a lot of healing before I started writing my book. For the last few years, I've worked on the healing, on the forgiving. And what writing the solo book has brought out are other things. I've got a very traditional Mexican family who there's a lot of secrets that I'm not trying to share, but I do want to share my story without hurting anyone. And that's been the hardest, I think, part of this journey is earlier this year, I interviewed a lot of family members who I'm not writing about family. It's really, I'm putting out my story, my experiences, but through family members, I am asking questions. I'm asking my aunts and aunts related to both my mom's side and my dad's side of the family, because I need clarity. There's a lot of things that are still blurred. I feel like what do you call it? I have blocked out a lot. and there are just parts and pieces that I remember, and I just want to make sure I get things right, and I remember things, well, at least the way I remember them are accurate. And so I've kind of shifted my story a little here and there because um, it's not the shame or that I feel. It's more of a guilt that I've been dealing with. Um, and but at the same time, this year, I feel like I've never embraced my story more than I ever have it until like now. Now I really feel like I'm embracing every part of me. Um, all my experiences in the past, the good, the bad, everything in between. And I've never felt so worthy, so loved, so loved, like loving myself, so in love with myself. And so grateful for everything that I've gone through. And I feel like if you read my chapter, I could have become a statistic. And but what I did was I broke a lot of generational trauma and abuse,
Yeah. Get it, girl.
did a lot of that. And it was after I battled stage 3 breast cancer, and it was aggressive. And I'm like, it was after that when I realized, like, there's a reason why I'm still here. There's a reason why I didn't get locked up when I was young. I didn't become a drug addict, or I didn't die, through DV or cancer. Like, there's a reason why I'm still here on this earth, and it's to share with others that you can persevere. And um, and there's a lot of things that are out of your control, getting molested or raped, or hurt. There's you can't control that. Um, and so you have a choice. I mean, later on, there's things that where we have choices, and it took me a long, long time to finally make the decision to completely just shift my life and what I want to share with the world, and then what I hope that other women see is that, if I was able to do it, they can too, and you can get out of your circumstances, and persevere. So by the time my daughter was in middle school, I was like, my daughter's not going to end up, down the same path that I did. So I was teen mom, uh, booster mom, PTA mom. I was so involved with her schooling, and saw my daughter graduate and go to university, and buy her house at 22. Like, I broke that cycle, and I've empowered her, to do the same and go even further than I ever did for, her children later on in life and other women. So, anyways, it's been quite the journey this year, but yeah, I definitely want to share that it's been the most rewarding thing to finally start speaking out and sharing my story. Um, and the more I do it, the more I find out that I've never been alone. There's so many women that experience and go through um, things.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
There's lots of other voices, some that haven't shared yet, and some you gave the courage to.
Yeah.
Which was the whole point of the Voices of 100 Women. So I'm going to go to Marlene next. Marlene, how has been writing this chapter in this particular book, as well as, creating your solo book? How has that been for you? And share a little bit about your chapter in this book.
Yes, I will. Sure. My writing journey itself. I don't know if I mentioned it, but here we speak Dutch, so I'm not a native English speaker. So it was for me, writing in another language was opening myself totally up for experiencing this, having worked for different international companies that helped me. But putting your thoughts and your feeling in another language is it's quite um, it's not exception, but quite an experience.
Mhm.
And so that's where it started. But writing the solo book was also a part of healing, because while writing, it was also a lot of reflecting, um, but also finding the relatable stories. You are all in, especially in my coaching practice, where during the coaching of men and women, I could see that we all relate in our
Mm.
story. And the book Re-Embrace You, what I discovered in my personal life, but also in uh, the, the the coaching clients, is that we most of us, we didn't learn, and
Mm.
it's not that our parents didn't want us or couldn't help us to to learn how to develop a relationship with yourself, but it was more that how they were brought up.
Mm.
So I saw that common thread in myself and the coaching clients. It was everybody else and you on the last place. So as I mentioned, it was reflecting, but also learning, healing. And that's also the time I took to write a letter again to myself. I did it years ago. And while I enjoyed the writing of the solo book, and especially the last chapter, because it's called Welcome Home to Yourself. And when I finished that, really felt like I'm finally home. So that was the journey itself. And for the chapter in the 100 Voices of Women anthology, years ago, I've experienced a pain that I never had imagined I would experience when in a relationship you experience infidelity, because
Mm.
I didn't know what it was, and being brought up in a Christian family, it's also you are taught that I was taught that you have to forgive and
Mm.
forget. But when the moment is there, as an adult, I I didn't know how to do that, and
Mm.
that's when I started writing, starting doing research. So that happened in 2013, and also the blame, the anger,
Mm.
because we as women, and that's what I also experienced during my coaching session, is if your relationship doesn't work, it's your fault. So all this guilt about what didn't I do wrong, or what didn't I do enough to keep this relationship going, because when I started this relationship I was imagining we're growing old together, but what if it isn't?
Mm.
And the forgiveness part, the anger, but also um, talking down to yourself, because for me infidelity is a core value, but the rest was good. So why I am complaining? I have everything else. But if you live by your core value, it will not be enough. All the rest will not be enough. And for me, it was going through a path of not feeling satisfied, but also feeling angry. Uh, and when at the year before I turned 50, I was at the crossroad. Like, is this the path I want to go for the rest of my life? Being angry becoming an angry woman, or will I make the choice to choose for peace, but also the whole forgiveness thing? Because the emotion I felt, and being a Christian, I really yelled, talked, screamed to God, "What is this? Why is this? Why is this happening to me? I've been a Christian child. I've talked to you. I've served you." So all these emotions I write in my book, and when I um starting to write, I could see the whole process. So where it begins, the anger, and then the step where you face everything, because that facing and the fear, and in the end taking the step to um step out of this relationship for myself,
Mm.
um that was the hardest part. The fear to be alone, because we were taught you should be married, have children, grow old together. So the fear to be alone, um really living alone, and what will my children say, especially my son. So there were lots of things, and writing this down put a whole um flow of in the perspective of forgiveness,
Mm.
and that it's okay to have all these feelings, but in the end, the good what came out of this. Oh, by the way, before I started writing, I wrote this in handwriting. I wrote this story in handwriting years ago, and but to publish it was
Mm.
also hard, because what will my children think about the story? It's about their father, but also their father himself. What would he think about this? So before it was published, I had a conversation with him, like, so this, I wrote about this, but it's about me. It's not about you. I didn't write ugly things about you. I wrote about the process so he could be prepared.
Mm.
Um, and in the end, one of the things that is important also in the forgiveness process is it's not about the other person, it's about you. And you can also make the choice not to have any contact or have this person out of your life. For me, I it felt good to have my children, their fathers, still in my life, because we have children, we have grandchildren. We will go to parties and of the family. So it's now we have now a better relationship with each other. I can count on him if I need help. He can count on me if he has his birthday. We can. So this is the whole. But that is my choice, and it felt good for me because I went through that whole process. In the end, um, I didn't feel triggered by. I don't feel triggered by anything. When you some in the beginning, when you watch a film and you see all this infidelity, the anger that
Mm.
comes, the emotions, I don't feel that anymore. And in the end, you know I've experienced that going through this process helped me also to forgive faster, and
Mm.
not getting these emotions. I can get them better in perspective, and I can deal with them. That's what I've experienced, and that's a good that came out of this. And for I hope that this chapter will also help other women who have experienced, and it doesn't have to be infidelity. It can be anything else that hurt you that deep in your core, that this will help them to see the whole process in perspective, and that's okay to go all through all these emotions, and in the end, to make a choice for yourself.
Mm. Well, thank you for sharing. I think you know everyone who shared today and all the authors in the book, all the voices are so different, but a lot of the stories themselves are similar. And the fact is there's no culture, no race, no creed, no religion that excuses you from experiencing life's traumas, life's joys. There is nothing that can break bonds of women and their voices unless it's us breaking it ourselves. And so, today we've heard about infidelity, about forgiveness, about rape, molestation, abortions, bad financial choices, bad decisions. But all of these things still, no matter what, you're still worthy. We're still worthy of everything good. We're still worthy as women, and we're still worthy of a beautiful life. All those things that we've shared, we've talked about today, just shows that you're not alone. Like, none of us are alone. So we're only going to be able to stay on today until just 2 minutes before 4 o'clock in honor of time. And so I want to go to Sylvia next. And I was hoping, Sylvia, that you could share your perspective on how it's been for you to write in this book, but to also be a part of the project and a little bit about what your chapter is about.
Thank you, my dear. Wow, I have to take a deep breath first, because exactly what you just shared, even though all the different stories and chapters are so intimately personal, but I believe because of the courage to go so into the depths of the personal intimacy, they become universal. It's a bit of a paradox. As more intimate we go, we somehow touch deep down the universal undercurrent of what it means to live life as a woman. And saying that, I get goosebumps. So for me this year, this is the 5th anthology. I wrote a chapter in with She Rises Studios this year. And I feel like the whole journey from chapter to chapter to chapter, I'm in the process to finding my voice more clearly. And so this is why I love this title, The Voices. And it is my most personal chapter. I started more academic and being the teacher and sort of hiding my persona behind the content I was teaching. And then I shared in another book a lot of complex research. And I'm proud about every chapter, yet there is a difference between sharing research or sharing from your own story. And here, if you allow me, I would like to read just 6 short lines, because for me it was such a breakthrough. I never had a relationship with poetry. I never read poetry. And interestingly, when I sat down to write this chapter, a short poem flew out of my fingers without plan. And I didn't edit it. I just left it as it is. And it literally summarizes the chapter and also my solo book from the whole series. So it's a world premiere, and I'm a bit nervous, but nevertheless, here it is. I always felt like a bird without wings, meant to soar, yet drowning in thoughts and things. Books as friends, food for comfort, clothes as protective masks. Why did no one ever ask? Why are you truly here? What do you hold dear?
Wow.
Cry right now, because it summarizes my whole life, and it summarizes the essence of that chapter. And then my forthcoming solo book, the painful gap between my inner world experience and the external world perception and story. The Sylvia Becker Hill inside of me and the Sylvia Becker Hill the world saw and the story made about me. And that gap at the beginning of my life triggered shame, because I first thought lack of confidence in me, that there must be something wrong with me, that I'm not experiencing what everyone else is saying or seeing or telling about me. And the title of my chapter and my forthcoming book is Crazy Courage Charisma, because for a long time, for decades, I thought I'm going crazy. Because you think blue and everyone else tells you, no, it's red or green or whatever, but you see blue, it is crazy making, this disconnect between internal world and external world. And this is what I'm writing about. And I never allowed myself before this book to write so authentically, literally the stream of my thoughts while writing, thinking about the reader. Hey, beloved reader, are you still with me? Are you still reading this? Does this even interest you? So I was for the first time honest to bring out literally my intimate thoughts while I'm writing, and the meta level of thoughts about my writing and my worrying about the reader. Because for every writer, every author, in my perception, and you, Hanna, as a publisher, you know it probably even better, for me, there are 5 phases in all writing processes. If we go to the publishing route, first we have the conception, the vague idea, then we sit down and do the work and really write. And everyone has a different style. And then comes the editing. And the editing is like the first time where I consciously read what flew out of me. And then there comes this nerve-wracking publishing. Yeah, it's a bit like a birth. You don't know what kind of baby will you bring to the world. Is it a nice baby, a monster baby? Will it be loved? Will it be easy to raise? Right? So you publish, and there's so nerve-wracking, and then readers read, and there are the public reaction, which we have then to deal with. Yeah, maybe to clean up misunderstandings, because the book is not read like intended or whatever, right? Or you become suddenly famous and you get so many invitations to talk about your chapter. We don't know. I mean, our baby is still a baby. It's not even a toddler. It's just out. We don't know yet what will come out of it. And it's exciting. It's nerve-wracking, and it's a huge possibility for all readers to be touched, inspired, and empowered by our stories. And also for us, and as a community, book signing parties, online, in person, workshops, summits. I mean, we have so many wonderful projects ahead of us. This book just got birthed, and we will all make sure it grows beautifully and spreads its seed. And 2025 will be an exciting year to see how this baby touches women around the world.
I think it already is. I think it started within our group itself, of the women who said yes to being a part of this book, a women who said yes to, writing their own solo books through the scholarships. And I think it's already begun, but I also see people who have started reading this book in particular. It shows that even though wherever we are in the world, we all experience similar things. We all have a voice. It's kind of what I keep saying, we're not alone. We've talked about so much in this short time together of forgiveness, bravery, courage, wondering, are we being seen? Are we being heard? Do our voices matter? We've talked about all different types of traumas in this, but the reality is that none of us are alone. We've had each other. We just didn't know it, which is why I think this project is so powerful and will continue to grow, because we have really stepped forward and said, here's our stuff, but we can't be the only ones with stuff. Right? It's just, we're the ones who are like, you know what? I'm going to take this leap of faith, and wherever I land, I'm going to land on 2 feet, and something good is going to come from it. And that's kind of what I'm seeing happen, is more and more women are wanting to share their story. More and more women are wanting to speak out. More and more women are wanting to make those changes wherever they are in the world. it's not just in our own backyards, it's across the 7 seas, right? It's everywhere. So I really think that the Voices of 100 Women is a powerful example of what happens when you get women's voices together for the good, for the significant, powerful impact of good, instead of the gossipy drama. It's quite opposite. When you're so intentional about the goodness and that impact that you want to make of good, all the mistakes, all the trauma, all those different things become a distant memory, and you're so hyper focused on the good of what you're doing now that's part of your healing. That's your therapy in the making, as you're sharing your voice and bringing that impact of good to someone else. So with that said, ladies, congratulations to all of you for sharing your voices, for being brave enough to do so. And for those who are watching, if this isn't proof to you of what it looks like when you collaborate with women and you share your voices and you work together for good, this is living proof of that. This came from women from all over the world who did not know one another. Half of us haven't even seen each other in person. And yet we made this work. So what does that tell you? If we can do it, anyone can do it. If we can heal, you can heal. So what are we doing next? That's the question, right? What's next?
Yeah.
So I just want to say, ladies, again, thank you for coming on today. This book, The Voices of 100 Women, is all across Amazon. It continues to circulate into the retailers. This is a book for everyone, man and woman. Yes, it says The Voices of 100 Women, but I wholeheartedly believe that books like this give men an insight on what incredible women they are partnered with, who their mother is, who their sister is. I mean, I have a husband, I have a son who read this. Men and women can change the narrative and change things for the good. And so I think that this book really showcases that.
Yeah, totally agree, Hannah. Totally. Because my book, Re-Embrace You, there was an order, and within that order, there were 5 male men who also ordered their copy. So yeah, I'm so glad. And because it's not only for women, the book is also for men. So, and also this book. So our books, our stories are not only voices of women, but also voices to men about women. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I want to thank you, ladies, for joining me this afternoon and sharing more insight on your chapters and on you. And to everyone watching, the way that you can support and help elevate this is to continue to buy this book. Gift this book to someone and just really continue to support each and every woman involved in this, just like they've supported you. Now it's time to turn that support around. Buy these books, gift them to people who you absolutely know can read this, would love it, cherish it, and pass it on. So The Voices of 100 Women, and these are just a few of them, but these are powerful voices in this room. My name is Hanna Olivas from She Raises Studios. It was great to be here with all of you ladies today. Congratulations. And until the next discussion, bye, ladies, and bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye. Thank you.